Mayor, we are live and recording, so we are good to go.
Okay, we'll give it one more minute here. Okay, we'll call this regular session to order. Wednesday, May 5th, the time is 7 p.m. Please allow me to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up for visitor comments. If you'd like to make a comment, please go into the up above into the more, and you can raise your hand and we will call on you. I do see, let's go ahead and I know that Tammy
You have a Jolison family that is on here. She was asked to make a public comment.
Okay.
Here I am. Thank you. My name is Casey Jollison. I'm a resident of St. Helens, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the pool. I understand that Anne came to your work session this afternoon, and I was able to listen to the replay of that. And I just wanted to give my support to the pool and for the city doing what they can to keep them going. We moved here 15 years ago. I was pregnant with my first son. And having a pool in town was definitely one of the reasons we picked St. Helens over other areas. We figured it was a very important piece of the community that we needed to have locally so that our kids could grow up with that. I have 3 kids. We have 3 kids now. They've all learned to swim there. They've participated in kids' night outs when there's no COVID. My husband and I have do lap swim there. And we use the pool for recreation. And let me tell you, it's hard to find things that both an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 15-year-old all like to do. I just want to say the pool is a treasure. It's been maintained unbelievably well. I'm amazed at what good condition it's in. Anne has always been nothing but professional. They handle the pool so well. And it's just one of the assets of our community that we just could not afford to lose. I know that the city has been taking a lot of time in investing in recreational programs for the community. And I think it's one of the best things that the city has done over the last few years with the recreation center and adding those things to the community. And I do realize that the pool is a special district, which means it's not operated by the city. But the goals of the pool are in direct alignment with the city's goals of bringing those services to the community. And I just want to say that anything that the city can do, especially at this time when it's so difficult and everyone's struggling, anything the city can do to make it easier for the pool to keep running, it would be greatly appreciated. And I just wanted to give my support to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and go with Tammy Beeler. And Tammy, you'll be able to unmute yourself. And if you'd like to, you don't have to video, but if you'd like to, there's Ken. Okay.
All right. Yeah, you have to use my wife's account. So bear with me. My name's Ken Beeler, not Tammy Beeler. And I'm president of the St. Helens Alana Club. We currently lease the building on 215 North 6th Street from the city of St. Helens. The club, we've been tenants there since about 2002. During that time, we have partnered on many building and maintenance projects. For example, many years ago when the roof needed to be replaced, the city paid for the roofing supplies and the lawn club paid for and provided the labor. We did something similar when we upgraded to high efficiency windows. Some of you know that we have many members throughout the community that provide valuable service to the club and can help maintain the building at little or no cost. As often as we have service to the heating and cooling system, the system has finally failed. Our understanding is that the system in there right now is current to the building. Because we have a member that's an HVAC licensed contractor, we have the unique opportunity to provide you with a quote that we feel is extremely competitive, if not extremely discounted. I've included the quote on a piece of paper that I'm sure that you guys have already. That was provided to us at this point. We'd like to know how you'd like to proceed with that. Does the city want to fix the system, or would you like to partner with this project like we have done in the past? The price for the unit and parts is about $4,314.34. The labor be about equal to cost for the installation if we were to build that out, is what we were quoted. As most of you know, the Alano Club is a nonprofit business that provides safe place for those recovering from drug and alcohol and gambling abuse. As you can imagine, during these times, our services are more important now than ever. So I really appreciate your time and consideration, and anything that you could tell me which way we'd like to proceed with this, and maybe get that going sometime here in the near future.
Okay,
Thanks,
so
Ken.
I just like to reveal that I sit on the board of this organization, and it's very good. It serves our community. It meets all of our council statement, mission statement, for what it does for our community, and it's 100% open to the public and utilized by the public. So very well.
So, Mayor,
Yeah.
is the installation, is that going to be volunteer? Will there be any charge for the installation, or is it just for the equipment?
So no, it's
Right.
just for the equipment. And this was looked at, the board member that sits on there who works for an HVAC company, his business has kindly said that he has a no compete contest, but has kindly offered to let us purchase that at cost. And this is called a hybrid system. It's 95% efficient. Heating unit and AC unit. So it's 2 units actually. And it's considered a hybrid. And if anybody knows what that stands for out there, we're not going to be dealing with any issues for a long time.
Yeah, the system that's currently in there is a 80% system. They're trying to phase those out because of modern technology and stuff. So that was why they recommended the 95% Bosch system to us.
What do they figure will pay for itself in 2 years?
It's very efficient. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's highly efficient. I didn't really get a workup on that, how quick it'd pay for itself, but it would definitely pay for itself over a period of time.
It's getting to the point where any furnace, even if it's working, over 5 years old, ought to be replaced just because of the new technology. So the fact that this thing isn't working, you're going to have to replace it. But even if it was working and it's more than 5 years old, get rid of it.
yeah. And again, it's the unique deal about this is it's in relationship to kind of what the senior center has with our building that we own over there and the way they operate. And, we help them out tremendously on that air conditioning unit over there as well. And also actually got them a block grant and redid the whole building years ago. So.
Forgive me for not knowing this, but what are the formalities for doing these types of things? Like, since it's a city-owned building, is there already a process for this? How does that work?
I would refer to Matt on that, maybe. Matt Brown.
I'm going to refer to John on that.
I kicked around.
So the senior center is maybe a better example. When we own the building, we lease it to the senior center. Actually, this is equally very similar in nature, but the city owns the building. We let them use it through a lease agreement. They take care of some of the expenses and other kinds of upgrades the city has participated in the past, as far as lighting and windows and the heating system at the senior center. The city contributed a fair amount with that and spent a lot of time out there kind of getting the cooling right with the balancing. And so hopefully that answers your question. We do.
Is there a fund that this is already projected to come out of?
So I can answer that, John. Typically for projects like the senior center, it comes out of our facility major maintenance fund. So I would envision that this would come from those funds as well. It would not be something that would need to come out of council directed funds because we do facility maintenance for the senior center, like John mentioned.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
I also have a newbie question. I mean, it makes sense. This proposal makes absolute sense to me, and I don't know why we wouldn't want to do it, except for the fact, I mean, there are, and I think this is kind of related to Councilor Chilton's question. Because it's a city building, are we bound? We're not bound by any kind of need to go out for bids or things for this type of project. I mean, so I'm just asking. I don't know.
In the past, for at least senior center projects, we have enlisted bids from companies like Columbia Northwest Heating and Cooling, TCM, for heating and cooling units for fixing the senior center. This particular situation is a little unique in that the Alano Club appears to already have somebody on board that is willing to do it at a cost. But I would refer to John.
Yeah, it's within the council's purview to, yes, we do have small bid requirements. Under 5,000 is very limited, frankly. But you know, there is that the council has the ability to waive that and recognize the value to the community. So. Okay,
sure. Because I mean, I can't imagine that you know, if we went to a bid process, we'd get the free labor and the cost on this. So no, this sounds like a great proposal.
Mayor, do we make a motion that we accept their offer?
You can.
I make a motion, we accept their offer. City buys the equipment, they install it.
I second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? None? Hearing none? Council President Morton?
Aye.
Councilor Topaz?
Aye.
Councilor Chilton?
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. All right, so Ken, we will be in contact real soon to cut a check to the Alano Club and get this purchased. So,
I thank you guys for your time.
all right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I see Brady has his hand raised. He's the next on, and if you'd like to make a comment, please reach in and raise your hand. On the there's more on the participants, and then you can go and have the ability to raise your hand.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I was very disappointed with today's work session. I was hoping to see a unified front and asking for the resignation of Mr. Topaz. I doubt if he will take advantage of that, but I think it would have been nice to at least have had a unified front and asking for that. I would remind the city council that it is city council, not city counciling. I think it is fair to expect that each city council members to show up ready and competent to do the work that they were elected for to do. It's not an audition for a reality TV show. Mr. Topaz has had many, many second chances, about 20 million of them. 10 minutes before you were scheduled to deliberate his discipline on the past indiscretions that he has faced, he told you and the entire council a bold-faced lie. Then tried to disrupt your deliberations by bringing up an entirely different piece of property that wasn't even in the discussion. Either Mr. Topaz is mentally incompetent, or he is deliberately trying to sow chaos, which he has actually said that that is his goal. Your ordinance that you are hopefully going to come up with on the 10th needs to include a mental health evaluation that is required. Him being declared mentally incompetent is the only way that you could remove him from his position. And either way, this is a no-lose situation for the city. If he is incompetent, you have the mechanism to then remove him from office. If he is found out to be competent, then you know that he's just being an asshole trying to sow chaos on the city council, and then you can deal with him appropriately. But before you decide what punishment you're going to deal out to him, you need to know whether he is or is not competent. I know that if someone from CCMH or someone from the school board behaved towards their staff or a coworker in the way that Mr. Topaz has behaved towards your staff, they would be terminated. There would be no second chances for them. I note that the one person that we really have not heard from in this whole debacle, which is costing the city thousands and thousands of dollars, is your staff. You need to have a way for your staff to anonymously give you suggestions on what punishment should be dealt to Mr. Topaz. And they shouldn't have to send you an identifying piece of email or anything like that. They should just be able to put an anonymous note in John's box and he can give it to the city council. And, you know, if there's irrelevant things in there, like I would put in there, like maybe a public flogging, you can throw those away. But I think you might be surprised at what suggestions that you get on how to curtail and protect the staff. And you have failed to protect your staff. I think you should make certain that you have given them every possible opportunity to give you feedback on how what actions you need to take to protect them.
Okay, thank you, Brady.
Thanks.
Okay, I see a familiar name, Keith Locke.
And
Hi, everybody.
Mayor, after Keith Locke, Jenny Carlson would like to speak as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just have a few comments on the investigation that was done on Mr. Topaz, because I was pretty involved in that with the last 2 years that he was his first 2 years on the council. And it's pretty disgusting that the city has to go through this kind of stuff. I would recommend that Mr. Topaz resign from his seat, because my other suggestion is that the community get together and we form a recall this year for the November election and get him out of his seat if there's no other way to do it. Because so far he's cost the city several $100,000, and we're very, very lucky that we have staff members that haven't sued the city for additional several $100,000. Thank you to the staff for being patient and putting up with us. But that's my recommendation, is that we put all this knowledge out in the public, and we do a recall in November.
All right, thank you, Keith. Okay, let's go with Jenny Carlson. Again, if you'd like to make a comment, please raise your hand and we will see that you get a chance.
Sorry, I forgot how to raise my hand, so I needed assistance. I just, having served on the council for 8 years, I witnessed him come in and bully and badger the council and staff in public meetings, and then I watched him do that in the years leading up to him getting elected. Then once he was elected, I watched him just harass people publicly and create such a hostile work environment. And it's just horrible. It makes me sick. The 2 years that I served on the council with Mr. Topaz were the most stressful 2 years of my life in St. Helens. Nobody should have to work in that environment. The council needs to remember these are not allegations. These are substantiated at this point. This is not a he said, she said. You're not deciding, did he do it? You're deciding what happens now. And this isn't a decision about your friend or not your friend. This is about what is right for our community and what is right for the liability to this city. Because as other people have given testimony, I know personally of 2 staff that have the grounds to sue and never work another day in their life because of the abuse that has been flung at them for the last 2 years. And when you say no and just wring your hands, oh gosh, He's just a grumpy old man. You're saying that's okay. And in this environment of, I don't know if you watch the national news, but you can't do that. You can't just turn a blind eye as a supervisor and as somebody that's leading our city to somebody that is victimizing women, men, minorities, and doing it in the name of the city of St. Helens, wearing his badge and passing out his cards as this is what St. Helens stands for. So this vote tonight is probably, I would say as a new counselor, one of the most important votes you'll make, because you are sticking up for what this city means to this community. Does it mean that everybody's treated fairly and people have a right to work in a fair and suitable environment? Do the other people have the right to be respected and being treated like a qualified person when clearly they are? Should counselors be held to the same standard as public employees would be? To case in point, if one of the managers at the city had behaved this way, they would already be unemployed. So I can't tell you because I don't have the documentation in front of me how many executive sessions we had that we had this conversation, and no conversation ever changed the behavior. But the council tried to be on the straight and narrow and not sling his name in the mud and not drag his name through the newspaper, but he insisted on doing that to staff and to the city. And if we're going to move forward with the fabulous waterfront redevelopment and fabulous growth in this community, invite businesses to this town, we need to put on our best face. And when people Google St. Helens, it shouldn't be a scandal that comes up. It should be all the wonderful things we have, not our dirty laundry. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Jenny. And then I'm going to allow Matt Brown to make a comment.
Thank you, Mayor. I cannot begin to tell you the amount of disappointment, anger, frustration, and lack of empathy that not only I feel, but other employees have expressed to me after this afternoon's meeting. I say this with as much respect as I can garner at this moment, but you have failed the employees of this city, and you have failed this community in your inability to make a collective, decisive decision on actions on things that you know are factually true and substantiated that have happened over these last 17 months. Thank you, Doug, for being willing to make a stand and ask for a resignation. Thank you, Rick, for supporting that resignation. After my public comment at the previous meeting, you would not believe the amount of support and outreach that I received from fellow employees that are not willing to come forward and be public about what has happened to them. From community members that have bought me lunches and bought me snacks and said, I'm so sorry for everything that you've been going through. And I'm sorry that this has happened to you. Like many employees and our community members, I saw the work session agenda item today, and I had some sign of hope that something was going to be done today to protect myself and to protect all of my other employees. Here I am again for the fourth time, asking you, pleading with you to get off your butts and do something. If Topaz were a city employee, he would be fired. If Topaz was a school teacher, Patrick, he would be fired. If he was a counselor at CCMH, Jessica, he would be fired with no second chances. You have given him chance and chance and chance. Chances to apologize, chances to explain himself, chances for him to show that he wants and desires to change, and he has failed. During the work session today, when you all spoke, you could see the smirk on his face. He ate it up. He loved it because he's winning right now. He continues to come into City Hall, badger employees, wasting their time for hours on end. He continues to publicly berate employees, as you saw today during the work session. Rick, thank you for standing up during the work session for myself, John, Muhammad, and all the other employees who have had to sit there and listen to his shit. Patrick and Jessica, I'm sorry that this is your tenure and you came in at this time. I know you didn't want to deal with this. I know this is not your problem and your fault. You didn't start this. But you know what? Neither did I. Okay? This is not why I work for the city of St. Helens. This is not why you have over 70 employees that work for the city of St. Helens. When I accepted this job, I took over for someone who retired. And there were a lot of changes I had to make, a lot of process changes, operations, practices. I didn't just hide behind the fact that, oh, these are the past issues. I don't have to deal with those. We'll push them off to another day. That's my job, okay? And I expect you as city councilors to do your jobs. Protect your employees. Show us that you care by taking action tonight and not pushing the can down another block, another road, another day, another meeting. The longer you wait to act, the larger the claim is against the city of St. Helens by all of the employees that have laid claims that you have read the full report of, and not even I have seen the full report. You know the full extent of what has happened. I am asking the city council one thing tonight, one thing, one request, and I don't think it is out of line. Until the investigation is completed, until you have come to a resolution, sanction and suspend all of Councilor Topaz's interactions with staff. He should no longer be allowed to come into City Hall, and he should no longer be able to come in unannounced and talk to staff and department managers. He should make an appointment with one person, one point of contact that can answer or get the information that he needs or has requested. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to kick him off. I'm not asking you to publicly berate him like I have right now. All I'm asking you is to protect the employees until this investigation has concluded. I am pleading with you on behalf of myself and other city employees. Take this action tonight and show that you stand in support of the employees that work for you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Matt.
I would like to ask Autumn Oliver if she has a comment, because she has reached out to me and I believe she does have a comment.
Go ahead and unmute yourself, Autumn. Autumn, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself.
I think she might be having difficulty.
So in the meantime, we'll if she chimes in, I'll be quiet. So I will state this, that for myself and for viewing public out there that don't know, that Councilor Topaz had a lawsuit against the city back in 2009 with his stormwater issue. His basement, the sewer line being fixed, him blaming the city for flooding his basement. Long story short, they went to court, he lost. He appealed it, they went to court, he lost. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. It has been evidently clear and sustained throughout the investigation that Councilor Topaz has since that time showed up at every other council meeting, former mayors and council included, and has continued to get his way into the city to get payback to the city, and has stated that because the current employee, one of the employees that was in all of this, and he has stated that a number of times. I have personally witnessed it, and it was sexist comments, and it was evidently clear that it was about the lawsuit that he lost in 2009. That's what he's running on. This isn't about him shaking things up and calling out whistleblowing and putting us out in Front Street. This is about that specific issue. Do your research, prove me wrong, and ask anybody who has worked for the city or been around any of those projects firsthand. Feel free to approach him please do it in a polite, mannerful way, because I have been verbally assaulted most recently at Safeway while I'm at the ATM. And I see there is somebody that's participating that did that to me. And I was just blown away. I was tapped on the shoulder at the ATM and was verbally insulted right in Safeway. And I said, are you kidding me? You're doing this right here. Can you allow me to finish my banking at the ATM? And when I came outside, I seen that same person and I said, I am more than willing, and I still am more than willing to sit down and talk with you at any point in time to, if you have questions about anything and everything that is city, that we're doing as a city. And that still stands. I serve all citizens of this community. So again, is there any other visitor comments? And I will allow Autumn one more time to unmute herself if she'd like to speak. And if you would like to speak, you can raise your hand. And I will allow her mother, Heidi Oliver, if she'd like the chance to speak, to unmute herself. And we'll give it a minute here.
I think there is a public comment, not on this topic, but yes, there she is, Jay.
Okay. Jay, go ahead and make your public comment. You can unmute yourself. Yeah, we can hear you.
I have something to say about one of the topics that's going to be coming up, and that is regarding the house on 367 North Vernonia Road. Mm-hmm. I am a neighbor of this person, and I moved into my home. I bought my home as a single mom. I'm raising two middle school kids in this lot. I am on a dead end lot. It's kind of a flag lot, but it's more of an easement. I have been in contact with the police since pretty much October of 2019, reporting my driveway is blocked. Before, they had a pit bull that they would just let wander. It was in my yard more than it was in its own yard. Most recently, there is a family living in an RV in his front yard with, I guess it's an aunt, a nephew, an 18-month-old toddler, and a newborn infant, all living in this RV. I have reported, and I have on my security cameras, that they have 3 to 4 dogs that they don't fence in, they don't leash up. They are, again, in my yard more than their own yard. My kids don't play outside because these dogs are in our yard too often, and they're not friendly dogs. I have been reporting that their dogs are now bringing poopy diapers into my yard and tearing them up. And when I walk by their yard, they have buckets, and I do mean buckets of dirty diapers all over their yard. They have scrap metal all over their yard. I have done everything I can to be cordial and nice about it. And it's just come to the point where I don't feel safe. I don't feel like I'm being listened to. If you pull up any kind of reports, I have called and reported all sorts of things. And I'm kind of at my wit's end. I feel like something very, very bad is going to happen for something major to happen. They've given him citations for the dogs being loose. They dodged those for about a month and a half. Then there was a court date, the beginning of April. He didn't show up. So they said that they're going to give him 30 days to pay it, or it goes to a collections agency, which isn't going to force him to do anything. So I ask you guys to please help me find a way to make my home a home for my family. And that's it.
Thank you.
Mayor, we do have Aaron Salisbury, who's just getting on, that would like to make a comment.
Okay. Go ahead, Aaron Salisbury, go ahead. Yeah, oh, unmute yourself. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, council, for hearing me. I didn't intend to join you and make public comment today, but it feels important. And I guess I'd like to direct some comments directly to Councilman Topaz. I have been following along as this has played out. I did watch the YouTube replay of your special session hearing. And Councilman Topaz, I know you've heard tonight, no one expects you to resign. They may ask you to, no one. Oh, fantastic. Is he leaving the room or is he listening? No one believes that you will resign, even if there was an ask by everyone. And I guess I've been ruminating a lot on this a lot. I feel like I've known people like you in my life who feel like the feelings of the rest of us, that our psychology and our hurt feelings are perhaps not as valid facts as the facts you are pursuing. I understand that you believe that you are doing good for the city and you are chasing down and being the bulldog that many of your constituents elected you to be. I understand that. None of us is the bad guy in our own narrative. But you are fond of reminding all of us that you have training as an engineer and that you have a brilliant mind and that you understand how things work. And so in that line, I'd like to give you a metaphor. It's one thing to build a structure and design a structure like, say, a bridge, and do all the engineering for it on paper. It's really hard to make a real bridge stand if you forget something like the sheer force of wind in the real world. Mr. Topaz, how people feel about their work and how people feel about their city is the sheer force. It is the sheer force of the wind in this town. And I guess I would like to say that I hope you will understand that these facts that are here about how people feel and what has happened and how you have treated people is another set of facts that is playing out on the structure that we're all trying to create together, which is a great city, a healthy city, a better city. And so I guess I'd ask for you to consider that these are not imaginary facts. You have not accounted for some variables here in the real world, and that is the people that make up this city. And that's why people are upset, because these are still valid facts. And we would like for you to step down, because I don't see any way you can repair this situation. This is a flawed structure you have created. It is not going to do us, any of us, a damn bit of good. So I guess I would ask, please, councilman, councilwoman, let's move on. Let's do something. And I know you're going to be following the rules and following the law, but let's protect our city workers who are working so hard on so many different fronts. So I guess that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Okay, any other visitor comments? I am not seeing any. Okay. you're gonna have to bear with me on this final reading of this ordinance because it's quite lengthy. Okay, ordinance number 3264, an ordinance amending the St. Helens Municipal Code chapters 17.16, 17.24, 17.32, 17.40, 17.56, 17.64, 17.68, 17.72, 17.80, 17.84, 17.88, 17.92, 17.96, 17.100, 17.104, 17.108, 17.124, 17.132, 17.136, 17.152, and 1920, and deleting chapter 17.128, focused on duplex housing to comply with Oregon House Bill 2001 and other matters.
Do you need a motion on that?
I do. It's a final reading.
I make a motion that we pass ordinance 3264 and all the other numbers that go with that.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to approve ordinance 3264. These are the laws that were passed down by the state and a little bit cleaning up of our code. If you're unfamiliar and looking in, had a long presentation on it. Council President Moore.
Well, I have a question, if that's appropriate. Will Kathy, our city recorder, give us copies of the new ordinances that have been passed? Not only the numbers, but the ordinance itself, and a hard copy?
Yeah, it should read like superseding these and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Kathy, can you do that, Kathy?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Oh,
thank you.
That would be so much appreciated, and that was my question.
Okay. Council President Morton.
Aye.
Okay. Councilor Topaz.
Aye.
Councilor Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Okay, ordinance first reading, ordinance number 3265, an ordinance correcting ordinance number 3260, which granted a non-exclusive franchise and right to continue to operate, construct, and maintain a cable system in the city of St. Helens, Oregon, to Comcast of Delaware II, Inc., to revise the name of the franchise holders to Comcast of Oregon II, Inc. And then ordinance first reading, ordinance number 3266, an ordinance amending the St. Helens Municipal Code to create chapters 13.30 relating to public safety fee. Okay, and those are both first readings, so we don't need action on those. Resolution number 1916, a resolution determining that a nuisance exists upon property located at 367 North Vernonia Road within the city of St. Helens, and directing that notice to abate the nuisance be posted on said premises. So this was one of our public comments properties that was a neighboring gal, and it was in our packet. And if somebody'd like to make a motion.
I motion that we adopt resolution number 1916 as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve resolution 1916.
I just have a question. So what happens next with that if we do approve it?
So it is posted, and then what happens is we will give them notice to get it cleaned up. And then if it doesn't get cleaned up, then the city will actually come in and use a contractor to clean it up and put a lien on the house.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. So that's the process. Okay, Council President Morton,
Aye.
Councilor Topaz,
Aye.
Councilor Chilton,
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay, award bid contract. 5, award water system master plan update project to Keller and Associates, Inc. 6, award contract for 2021 ADA curb ramp improvements to Turney Excavation, Inc. for $74,425. 7, award contract for 2021 annual street spring project specialized pavement marking, Inc. for $21,305. So that would be 5 through 7.
Mayor, I make a motion that we award the bids at 5 through 7.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to award bid contract 5 through 7. Council President Morton,
Aye.
Councilor Topaz,
Aye.
Councilor Chilton,
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Approve and authorize for signature 8 memorandum of understanding with St. Helens Police Association regarding salary schedule effective date. 9 memorandum of understanding with ASHME regarding salary schedule effective date. And 10 agreement with Stephen Wabshall to be directed responsible charge for water filtration facility and 11 contract payments.
I move we approve and authorize for signature 8 through 11 as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve and authorize for signature 8 through 11. Council President Morton,
Aye.
Councilor Topaz,
Aye.
Councilor Chilton,
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. All right, consent agenda for acceptance. 12 budget committee meetings dated April 2nd, 16th, 23rd, and 30th, 2020. And 13 urban renewal agent minutes dated April 30th, 2020.
I move we accept consent agenda item 12 and 13 as read.
Okay, need one more second.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded for consent agenda 12 and 13. Council President Morton,
Aye.
Councilor Topaz,
Aye.
Councilor Chilton,
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. All right, consent agenda for approval, RFQ for St. Helens Industrial Park. 15 council open hearing minutes dated April 20th and special session minutes dated April 27th, 2021. 16 OLCC license, 17 accounts payable bill list.
I move we approve consent agenda items number 14, 15, 16, and 17 as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Consent agenda approval for 14 through 17. Council President Morton,
Aye.
Councilor Topaz,
Aye.
Councilor Chilton,
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay, from earlier, we have the the aquatic center is what it's called. And Ann Schultz gave us a presentation and we had some testimony here tonight. And it sounded like we were going in a direction earlier. I don't know that we need to deliberate on it too much, but just to inform the public that we are going to reduce the water from 75% when we were increasing it back to 50% through 6/30 of 2022 for an entire over year at 50%, and then start back with to the 75% at that point in time. But we are actually reducing their current payment. And I think that was a well thought out, well talked about by this council. And would anybody like to make a recommendation?
I'll make a recommendation that we adjust the water rate to 50% for the aquatic pool.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve 50% till 6/30 of 2022 for the aquatic center.
Mayor,
Yes.
discussion, is it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I thought we had, I know we agreed, I'm certainly going to vote for the reduction to 50%, but it was the increase. I thought we had discussed the possibility of smaller increments of increasing rather than jumping to the 75% right away. But we're not voting on that right now. We're just voting on so that anyway, I thought we had given some consideration. We were going to talk about possibly smaller increments of increase after the year of 50%.
So when we know she's going to come back to us if the COVID is not, and they're in a financial area that they need help. We know we discussed that she would be back presenting, and so I was just keeping it. I didn't think we needed to. And talking to the entire council, we that's where we left off. That's why I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to chime in just a bit. And I thought that that was a substantial amount of time to have flexibility to maintain any talks and any communication between the two agents, the city and Ija Smith Pool, to work things out. So I think that we have that flexibility always to do that. So I don't think it's in stone that it has to go up to 75% at that date. Hopefully it can.
So, and I just will state on that discussion, and I don't want to get into a lengthy discussion about it, but it being a special district and it reaches outside like to our school district almost, that the citizens were actually of St. Helens were getting double dipped when we were giving free water or half water compared to people outside of that paying the same price as well. So if they would like to go ahead and adjust a rate for citizens within inside the city limit, then I'm really willing to talk about, but I don't want to complicate things. And we were doing 25% increments over yearly period. So we were giving them a heads up, and it worked until COVID happened. And we understand that. Okay, so a motion's been made and seconded to move the water rate for the aquatic center back to 50% till 6/30 of 2022. Council President Morton.
Aye.
All right, Councilor Topaz.
Aye.
Councilor Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Do we have any other thing that we needed to bring up? I think we took care of Abby.
No other work session items.
Well, yeah. No other work session items, but I would like to, I guess, in other business address.
Yeah, you're going to actually have a chance to have a report here in just a minute.
Yeah.
Which is where you can actually still take action. You can bring stuff up in your report that would require action as well, because we're in the evening session.
I obviously feel the same, so I'll wait till my report.
Okay. So what do I have report? The governor's orders that came out. There was a letter written by the commissioners and cities, and by the commissioners, and I was in support of it. And I can just say it's nice to have the levels going back to where they were, and I do believe that that letter made significant. It had something to do with it. I will say that. This COVID is very difficult. Continue to wash your hands, mask up, do the social distancing, allow the businesses to survive in our community. We are moving forward with the 4th of July too, and that's another. Looking forward to the Independence Day celebration, and what that may look like depends on where we're at then. I would like to also talk about Citizens Day and planning around COVID. And, usually we have it in the second week of August. I noticed the 100-year celebration of Scappoose, and I don't want to compete and have something on the same day as Caboose is on that second weekend of August. So I don't know how people feel about the date either of August 21st or August 28th for Citizens Day. And what that may look like, I don't know. With, COVID, are we going to be needing to have servers? It's probably going to be much different. But it's always a good time, that Citizens Day. So I definitely like to talk about that a little bit. If anybody has any comments on Citizens Day. Anybody? It's our day. It's our event, the city.
It's a highly successful. Let's keep it going. Why mess with anything? If the COVID thing kind of like kicks in, then that could be an issue. But it's outside. It's wonderful. A lot of people involved. Everyone always is very thoughtful and says thank you. And I just think it's a great venue.
Yeah. McCormick Park, we get to show off our biggest park with the big all abilities playground in it. And yeah, it's really great. So the 21st or the 28th, I will check with staff to see if there's any. I don't think we have anything conflicting on either one of those days, and come back to you with what I find out, I guess, on either one of those dates. I know Scappoose again is celebrating their 100-year on the 13th, 14th, or 14th. It's again time to talk about July, the first weekend of July, the first Wednesday. Are we taking that off this year?
Yes.
Usually we do. Usually
Yes.
we do. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, because we need to make sure that doesn't get put on our website. So
Well,
Kathy,
let's hear the rest of council. See what they say.
I mean, it's new to me, so is that something you guys always do? I don't know.
yeah.
Well, it's kind of family time and that kind of thing, and celebration time, and sometimes it's hard to shift gears.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely on board with that.
We used to take 2 off. It used to be right around the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, or I think it was that Wednesday, and then the first week of July, and we narrowed it to just July.
Yeah, it was July and August.
You're right. It was. Yep. Okay.
Front end of July is sailboat racing, so take the first week off anyway.
There.
Okay, and then my last thing was about getting back to in-person council meetings, and I'd like to get, we were able to have a meeting down there the other day. I know that is Planning Commission meeting down there now? I'm not sure if they are. No,
they're sort of remote. They have one person that comes into the city council chambers but gets on a laptop to do the meetings.
But we proved that it was doable, that we could actually allow maybe 1 or 2 visitors to sit in the meeting. And if they had to wait outside and rotate in to make a visitor comment in person, but they could via Zoom us too as well. So I think it's about time. So, and our microphone issue is figured out.
Yes, we have the microphone issues figured out, so everybody should be able to hear everything clearly.
Okay, so let's I don't know if we should shoot for next meeting to be in person or not. How do you guys feel about that?
Let's do it.
I'm okay with it.
Doug? Are you okay with that? Next meeting in person? I think he said yeah. You were muted.
Yeah, puppy issues right at the time. I'm sorry.
That's right.
So I muted myself, told the dog to be quiet, and then unmuted. What'd I miss?
We were just talking about our next meeting being in person.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever, what anyone feels.
Okay.
Mayor, are you
Yeah.
wanting it to be a hybrid meeting?
Yes, but I still allow, if somebody wanted to come in, they'd have to wait out in the little lobby and maybe just come make a comment at the beginning of the meeting. So,
Okay,
yep. Okay. All right. And then again, I just want to apologize to staff for the way government has to work in order to get a resolution in the matter of the Counselor Topaz investigation that, we are meeting on Monday to talk about it. And, it's just very complex, and it's very, a lot of moving parts, and we're trying to protect you. And I know that sounds, but the city is in a predicament where this investigation has worn on me personally. I don't like this. I'm not into no drama. I don't want a reality TV show. It costs $0 to be a decent human being, to maybe approach somebody just a little differently. Take a second, maybe put yourself in that person's shoes too. You don't always understand what they're going through. Just because I want the answer I want when I want it, doesn't mean I need to think about all those things too prior to, and be patient and allow them to be them, and not have to be, bullied. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. And, I've read a few comments already about myself. I am not affiliated with anybody. And really what you are looking at is probably more of a conservative than a liberal, if I'm being quite honest, and aligning myself. And until you know me, and don't act like you do, because I don't know you from Adam, and I'm more than willing to sit down and talk to you any point in time. And that's what I signed up for. And you're allowed to make your comments as well as you're free to do as you will. But I just would like to throw that out there, that you are no differently making comments about me than what Mr. Topaz's behavior is. And I will say that because I've never met you. Have you ever sat down and had coffee with me? Have you talked to me for a little bit? I don't think so. And until you have, and we've had at least a half hour to an hour to share our lives together, you shouldn't judge. I learned that a long time ago. Again, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Council President Morton for his report.
Yeah, a bit of thing to talk about some of my core values and why I said a good motivation of why I said in a work session that I would like Mr. Topaz to resign. And that was, that's not that I don't like the guy. That isn't that at all. He's a good person. He does a lot for our community, but he has done a lot of horrible things to our staff. And in terms of my values, I'm as a council person, I'm here to protect the staff. I'm here, and I ran on a platform for safety, and I feel that part of this is a bit of a safety issue. But more than that, there's an element of trust that is very important in teamwork. And the teamwork in this city is with staff and with council. And then it goes, then it goes beyond that into our committees and commissions and our volunteers and the people who are stakeholders in our community. And we can disagree a lot, but there's to work as a team and to go forward. There's one element that needs to be there, and it's trust. And I guess I learned that at a pretty early age playing Little League on the Kiwanis team here in St. Helens, and doing sports in junior high and somewhat in high school. But when I got to high school, the farming issue kicked in our family. And that's a teamwork thing too. And let me tell you, there's got to be a lot of trust. There's got to be thorough communication in a family and in effective and efficient organizations. I learned it more when I got drafted and went to Vietnam. And if you didn't have trust in your group that you were in, you could count yourself out or count many other people out in terms of their life. Trust was something that I learned when I was 20 years old, the hard way. And man, it was scary, and we all had to trust each other. It was a band of brothers without a doubt. And if there was any kind of element of untrust, things got rectified. They got rectified in very ugly ways, and it was hard for me to see. But anyway, when I came back from Vietnam, I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to coach and teach. And so I made a career of teaching and coaching. And I've coached as a head coach over 100 teams, 100 teams in high school, and plus summer league issues, and in the winter as well. So all through all of that as a head coach, the one thing that I instilled beyond winning, beyond anything, was a sense of trust. And so when I retired from all of that, I felt very fulfilled with that career. I came to the city council, and I found a bit of untrust. And over the 12 and 14 years that I've been on, somebody would come up to me and say, "Hey, how's things going on council? How's everything?" And, I usually felt pretty good about saying, "Hey, really good. It's a great council." But I would say about 8 to 10 years ago, I was very proud of our council and our staff and the way the way the team was functioning. We had a bit of some glitches or whatever, but it always got resolved. And I was proud to be a part of this team. I'm very proud to be the president of the council. Wow, that is glorifying to me. I feel really good about that. So along comes issues that somewhat started to divide the community in terms of the council being looked at as bringing toxic elements into our city to fill the lagoon. And all we were doing is trying to figure out, what are we going to do with this lagoon? What kind of things can we deal with? DEQ and the state comes up with issues of possibly filling the thing. So we get a group together, and I wanted to learn more. All our council wanted to learn more. We didn't know what was going on with that lagoon. We didn't know what was going on with the state, the DEQ, the Division of State Lands, the fisheries, the Corps of Engineers. What's going on? What's happening with that? Because we kept getting information about that. So a group, an environmental group called Mal Foster, entertained what I thought was going to be, for me, an educational understanding of what that lagoon is going, what the problems are, what we're going to do. We got somehow advised by our attorneys, and somehow it got misconstrued that we opened it up as an executive session and used just simply the wrong number, the wrong digit to open it up under, I think it was like property transactions. And I considered it to be something like a understanding of property transactions, because this property is going to be, something's going to happen with it. Anyway, so we get through this thing, and I felt really good about the discussion. However, it got disrupted. And by the end of the disruption and the adjournment, I felt the need to go around to the governor's office, the people who were from the governor who were sent there, and apologize to them as president of the council, on behalf of our council. I'm very ashamed of what happened, and I'm very sorry. Next was the DEQ. I'm very sorry for what has happened. And I kept going around and around and around and apologizing for our behavior. It's the first time, it was the first time since I'd been on that council that I had a gut feeling that, hey, what has happened here? This is not cool. But what happened after that is what really built the mistrust. Mr. Topaz went to the paper and suggested that and suggested what had happened in the session, which was highly illegal, and it caused more discontent amongst the council members. But the big thing was he left himself out of it and turned 4 of us council people into the ethics commission, where we are all fined money out of our own pocket. And I have that to bear for me for the rest of my life, because it cannot be expunged that I have a violation of the ethics commission. Thank you, Mr. Topaz. And that did not feel good. After my life and my career of teaching morality and ethics to kids and trying to maintain the high standards on this council, that's what I came up against. So part of the reason and the motivation for me to speak out today, this morning, was because I've been harboring a lack of mistrust on our council. And I'm thinking that it could be a great team. 2 new council members who bring a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of understanding, and a great mayor who has a lot of enthusiasm and good leadership qualities. I felt part of feeling good about that, but there's this thing about mistrust, about getting thrown under the bus. And I have a hard time living with that. And I have a hard time functioning with that. So that's why I asked my friend, Mr. Topaz, and I do mean friend, that it would be good if he would consider resignation, because it would help. From my point of view, it would certainly help me. And I think it would help everyone. And so that's all I wanted to convey. And that's my report.
All right, thank you, Council President Morton. Councilor Topaz.
Well, as you know, the virus is among us and the governor is making adjustments. The library's kind of open we haven't shut down as much as could be because of some of the strangeness of the law, but we are on a restricted business. But there's a great deal that's happening at the library, and the best way to find out is give the library a call, because we're kind of somehow sneaking through the cracks. Margaret has watched the law and all the regulations minute by minute, so we're as up to date on how well we can operate, and we are operating. That's about all I have to say.
Okay, Councilor Chilton.
Okay, well, first of all, I have a lot to address here because I feel honest. If I'm just being honest, I feel pretty attacked. So that's just how I'm feeling, and I make a living by being transparent. So I'm going to be transparent right now. And I want to say this for the record, that bullying is not okay. It's not okay, period. It's not okay in any form at all. And I just want to say that there are people that are listening right now that have personally bullied me, have said things about my last name, have said things about my career choice, have said things about people in the community that are recovering from addiction. It's not okay. So you need to practice what you preach. And I'm going to say that right now for the record. Okay. Now we'll move on. That I feel blindsided. And I'm going to say that for you all to hear, because I had no idea that you guys were going to come tonight and ask for someone's resignation. So I feel blindsided by the rest of the council. And that is another reason why I can't make a decision, because I felt so blindsided and shocked that this was even on the table. So that's my stance on that. That's my stance on all of that. Moving along with my actual job as a councilwoman, I did get to also sign the same letter that our mayor, Rick Scholl, did to Kate Brown, which was to reopen Oregon and support our businesses. And I'm really glad to see that Columbia County had moved from the extreme risk category to the high risk category again, allowing businesses to try to regain some tracking from everything that they've lost over the last year. So I'm really happy about that. And I'm happy that we're moving forward with reopening Oregon. And as a council, we are going to be in person again, so we can try to move forward and live our lives through the pandemic, because it's not going to go away. It's going to be a part of society for a long time. So we have to figure out a way to continue to support our community and the businesses and the people that live here, and just try to find a way to move on through it and, you know, do what we need to do. So I'm really glad to hear that the mayor also signed that letter. It was a well-written letter, and it had a lot of support from county officials. So I also want to say that I'm really looking forward to the McCormick Park Playground and that being finished. And I hope to be in attendance at the reopening ceremony if I am invited. I would like to be there. I know there's a lot of families that are excited about getting to use the playground and the upgrades that are coming, including my own kids. So I'm very excited about that, and that's something positive that I'm looking forward to. That's all I got.
Okay, Councilor Berkeley.
First, I wanted to refer to Mr. Leskovich's comments at the work session concerning possible formation or an ad hoc committee or some such group to look at issues related to or advising on issues related to environmental impact on some of the projects we're going to develop. And even prior to that, I had been thinking I would like to work with city staff to look at, and with council, look at some kind of proposal that as we develop city properties, that we have some kind of plan or stance for making it a goal as much as possible to preserve what we can of some of our native species, elements, and things like that. But if we are not able to, that we would commit to allowing groups to come in and take out what could be saved, whether that be some different plants, the camas, things like that. So I just would like to see some kind, I'm going to look at that as kind of a long-term goal. I believe there's some property that, such as in the business park, that as we're looking at developing phase one, there are some things there, that I've documented some plants like the canvas, those things that we can get in and take out before the earth movers come in. So just that kind of thing, to have that kind of growth, not to oppose development, but can we do development in a different kind of way, in a different kind of way. And also with that, I'm glad that that the business plan is, or the industrial park plan, when we adopted it, I looked again at Councilor Morton's comment and Councilor Topaz that, it's with flexibility. There's no hard and fast decisions made, right now. And I would hope that as we go ahead with the RFQ and the proposals, that we really do look as a city at what can we do to make sure that we have a replacement for those wall fields before they are removed. So I think that would be an important kind of thing to continue in the dialogue as we develop our businesses. And then to address the issue regarding Councilor Topaz. I'm been struck too, as Councilor Chilton is, with feeling some blindsidedness, and but I by statements that were made, but I hear the pain and the urgency that Matt Brown expressed, and that is shared by a significant number of our employees. I did not know that Councilor Topaz's behaviors were continuing. Since hearing the report and trying to, in the best way possible, to move ahead, I had no idea that these behaviors were continuing until tonight. I have to express some this afternoon I referenced not blaming, not shaming, but I do wonder if, since some of these issues were raised as back as almost 2 years ago in 2019, and yes, the previous council launched an investigation, but could there not have been some steps taken without the extensive report being done, and by the previous constituted council, including former councilors Locke and Carlson. And I appreciate that Matt acknowledged that Councilor Chilton and I have stepped into a situation that we did not expect, but we are now on the council, and we are responsible, and we need to make some decisions. I thought that this afternoon I tried to express that I thought that protection of staff was a priority, and I made perhaps a fumbling attempt to, I think, when I inquired whether or not there was some kind of action that we could take prior to any statement of censure. because I think the most important issue is having a safe workplace. And it dismays me, Councilor Topaz, you and I also, I think, since I've been on the council, have had a relationship that's been casual and some good exchanges and interchanges. You've expressed your concern for my father's health when I've shared things like that. But Councilor Topaz, I beg you, I plead, please do not continue with these behaviors that bring jeopardy, that bring chaos to our city and bring jeopardy and liability to our city. Please. And if that means your resignation, then resign. But we still heard a strong call that tonight that we take some kind of action to ensure that at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, or whenever the city offices open again, that city staff are not subjected to the same behaviors that they have encountered. And that just, and so that's what I was trying to address. And I know we were working with trying to address, follow counsel, try to be legal. But is there anything that we can do now tonight to, if Mr. Topaz, if Councilor Topaz chooses not to refrain from these actions, that we can put in place restrictions, systems, I don't know, whatever to call, so that we have a workplace that our employees can feel safe and productive in.
To date, we have nothing, Patrick. That's why we are meeting on May 10th. We just don't. It's simply not there. We don't have any censure. We could, through our charter, ask him to resign, which was an ask earlier. We could order a mental evaluation. I'm not going there. I'm not playing this. I'm not playing a game here. You know what I mean? So we don't have anything at our fingertips. As an elected official, as an employee, we have every right to immediately. I see a big X over there. I would, if somebody would like to make a motion and knows what I want legal advice. I
thought we could make restrictions on his access to staff. That's what I was under the impression of.
We can't, no, we can't, no.
I see Council
We
President.
cannot do a thing at this point until we get legal advice to move forward. So that meeting is, yeah, that's what that meeting is going to be all about.
But he gave us options at the last. John, do you want to chime in? Didn't he give us options?
Just in the spirit of taking some action, and Councilor Topaz perhaps being willing to take some, accept some kind of a sanction as far as access to staff or an administrative leave of sorts where he has limited access to staff would be a good show of faith by him to cooperate with the city. So, but
I'll ask
yeah.
Councilor Topaz, would you be willing to take an administrative leave until after our May 10th or in a week, 2 weeks, till we are adopting a resolution to protect our employees?
You've heard my answer before. My answer will come from my attorney.
Yes, and that's why I say we don't, because I'm not going to sit here and play this. This has been the response. And Patrick, we have tried the approach of asking politely in meetings. You'll see each and every counselor over the 2-year period try to, in public meetings, you'll see us finally bust down and just say, can we work together? Can you bring something productive for us? Let's do this together.
Maybe I'm
Let's work.
confused. I thought when we met with our attorneys that we had the right to restrict his access. That's the impression that Bill gave to me.
We are limited. And what he gave us was recommendations for passing ordinances, Jessica, and resolutions. And until those are in place, we do not have the authority to do that. That's my gathering. We could ask. So I want to make
there's a process. There's a process
Yes.
to get those things to happen. So
trust me, if it was that simple, I would have put him on administrative leave a long time ago. It's just that simple. We would have. I know we would have.
So, okay. So thank you. See, and that's what I came away with this afternoon. And I just do not know. Yeah, I do not know what we can say to say, but it distresses me as a former, as a union member, as a former union member, and I know some of our affected staff are not union, members, but are due the full rights of process and protection. But as a former union representative who had to represent the colleagues in complaints against the principal we once worked for, and had to go through the chain of command up to the school board, where the school board found in favor of the principal in an absolutely, I think, appalling way. I don't know that this helps our employees to know this, but I am absolutely committed to doing everything I possibly can, and I believe that the other council members that we can possibly do within the limits of the law, and if it just means, again, clearly stating that Councilor Topaz, yes, you can say that your lawyer will address issues, but I don't know that your lawyer needs to provide you with legal counsel to have the decency to agree that for a limited period of days, you will of your own accord choose not to engage in the behaviors that have brought us to this point. That's all I can do to Councilor Topaz, is to ask you to do that. And I'm sorry if that's not possible. I have no more to say tonight.
Okay, I just know that this has been very, very stressful for the entire staff, the city council. And my sense around all this is that knowing that nothing can be done to me will give me leverage just to continue on. And so we are definitely committed on the May 10th meeting of, life is hard enough, and why do I have to make anybody's life more difficult? And again, there was a clear example in our earlier session of Councilor Topaz's part of the investigation of his misleading information, where he tried smoking in one project into another one and making city staff and us as well look like idiots for self-serving reasons. And it was clearly displayed right before our discussion. If you go to our work session earlier today and you're unfamiliar with it, watch it. And watch right before, actually it's about 3 o'clock. You'll see that presentation. Actually, it was 2:50 because we had 10 minutes before our break. It went on till 3:10. We came back in at 3:11. You'll hear the statement and you'll see my example of the actual facts, because it's Google Earth. And thank God we have technology. And I will definitely, what I know I can do from here on out for the staff listening, is I will censor Topaz 100% and call him out every time. This is my meeting to run, and I am allowed to do that. Every time when he is misleading a number or putting a project into the first phase of our industrial property, has nothing to do with that lagoon or Mall Foster. So I will definitely continue to call him out on that. That I will promise you from here on out. That I will do. And please just be kind to one another. Life is hard enough. All right. We all have struggles and fears and wants and all that. Just be kind. That's all I can say. And I'm not here on a soapbox. I'm not perfect. I fall short sometimes. You've seen me in meetings publicly. Again, I apologize to staff, but I will honestly commit to any time in this meeting that it's happening. And I will listen to you. If it's happening there at the workplace, maybe just call the police. Make a record of it. Call the police. Ask him to please refrain from talking to you in that manner and just call the police. Simply dial 911 and get it on report. Build your own civil case as well against Councilor Topaz. That's what I would recommend. As well, we are gonna committed to May 10th to finding something that we can have to lean on. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn. We are adjourned.
Hello. I'm here.